Warning, this man is a real-time traveler from 2099. This is some of the craziest things he has told me about the future. Donald Trump will get elected president in 2024, beating Kamala Harris by 67%. Massive storms known as world breakers will happen all over the planet, caused by global warming. Alien creatures will visit Earth in 2029 known as the Xenu, causing global panic. WW3 will break out between humanity and the Xenu. There will be no winners.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Today I want to cover the Great Fires. Let's jump right in. We've all heard of the 1871 Chicago fire, about how the cow tipped over the candle and burned everything down. They even named their soccer team after it, so we've all seen it, the Chicago fire. Well, one or even two fires isn't very convincing. Fires happen, right? But the Chicago fire was the only city that burned down, right? Wait. Boston burned down a year later? After Chicago? Okay, well, that's two fires. Big deal. Like I said, two fires is nothing. Accidents happen. Cows tip over candles. And burn everything down once in a while, right? It was the 1800s. What do you expect? Everything is going to burn down. They didn't have water. Okay, maybe they did have water, but they didn't know how to use it to put out a candle. Well, it is kind of weird. They knew how to build these incredible structures, but didn't know how to put out a fire. Well, whatever, let's continue. What? You're telling me that Seattle burned down in 1889? New York had a Great Fire? In 1835. What? It's had a Great Fire too? 1845? No way. Portland? 1866. San Francisco? 1851. Destroyed as much as 3/4 of San Francisco. Are you joking? What the heck? Okay, well, that is kind of a lot, but who knows? Could be a coincidence, right? Wow, why don't we just keep going until it's not a coincidence anymore? Let's do it. Dayton, 1882. Fire burns blocks of downtown Dayton. Guess we'll never see that again. Thanks a lot. St. Louis, Great Fire, 1849. Milwaukee, Great Fire, 1892. More than 440 buildings burned down. Charleston, 1861. What caused it? Cook Fire, lighting the small city up on fire. It burned over 540 acres. You kidding me? Richmond, 1811. A theater fire. I knew everything down. Portsmouth, 1813. Destroyed 500 buildings. Wow. Galveston, 1885. Burned hundreds of homes. Across 40 city blocks. Who knows what kind of buildings were in here? Who knows what kind of structures we could have seen? But they burned down. The Atlanta Great Fire, 1917. Let's get Toronto involved in 1904. Destroyed a large section of downtown Toronto. 1904. Gone. Gone forever. Troy, 1862. Gone. Dallas, Texas, 1860. A fire consumed Dallas. Let's stick with Texas. And of course Houston in 1912 was burned down. Blaze traveled more than a mile and a half. All of it is gone. Phoenix, 1916. It was caused by a spark from a generator, and the city's gone. Just destroyed because of all their fires. No, wait, did Philadelphia burn down too? Yep, it did. This one is the craziest of them all. It was caused by a lighter that was found near a tree. Give me a break. It's basically every single major city. I think you guys get the point. It is every single major city in the USA. And even Canada.
There's been a lot of people talking about the Great Reset recently. This theory states that every few hundred years, the world is reset through some sort of catastrophic event, and humanity's population, inventions, and history has to be restarted and recreated again. Our most recent reset was apparently somewhere around the early 1800s. Some people have theorized that some of the technology that we have today wasn't invented, but was actually left behind by a civilization before us and then discovered by us and recreated. I've talked about before how it seems like many of our buildings were built on top of structures and that there's more to it underneath. I also find it interesting that in the 1840s there was a suspicious number of orphans, many of which were shipped around the world and working industrial level jobs.
This is going to be another one of those videos of things they really don't want you to know. So if you think this is legit information that you think is important to share with the people that you love and care about, please do. You're all aware of the complete clown show that has been climate science for the last 2 decades. It started off as global cooling, and then that didn't happen. Then it was global warming, and that didn't happen. And then it became climate change. The most innocuous and meaningless phrase you could ever come up with if you were trying to explain to people that the entire Earth's ecosystem and environment was about to collapse. It's such a ridiculous wording that it makes it obvious that they're hiding something. Here's an example. Why are the Atlantic oceans heating up? Climate change. Okay, so what you're saying, climate scientists, is that when I ask you a question like, why is the climate changing? You say, because of climate change. Notice they haven't said any addendums on what exactly we're supposed to do. Notice that they knew about this stuff 100 years ago when we were dumping massive amounts of trash in the ocean, or we were letting big giant oil companies get bigger and gianter. This was never about some sort of man-made climate change. This was always about a cycle of catastrophe on this planet that happens. We have had ice age spikes, we have had heat spikes over and over and over again throughout the aeons, and we are more than due for another one. Except they didn't have man-made climate change 12,000 years ago, or 24,000 years ago, or 36,000 years ago, when all these things happened the same way they're happening now. So what was it? Dinosaur farts? Folks, there's something way bigger happening here. There are destruction cycles on this planet. It might be because of a pole shift. It might be because of Nibiru, that there's actually a binary star system that comes through and just wreaks havoc. But understand that all the stuff that's happening now, the fires, the Atlantic Ocean heating up, all the animals dying on the West Coast, the earthquakes, the massive crazy storms, these new water spouts that take 90-degree angles in the sky and get sucked up into clouds like the clouds are UFOs, and the 10,000 other insane things happening like all the 1,000-year floods and what they're calling the Noah floods, which are even more rare than 1,000-year floods. They all started happening in the last 2 or 3 years. It was kind of a small pickup. Unless you were paying attention to the earthquakes, you really didn't know what was coming, because the earthquakes is how it all starts. But in the last 6 months, it literally turned to hell on earth overnight. Climate change was not growing that exponentially. Folks, there are other exponential forces, like the fact that the magnetic pole, is moving a mile a month now. A mile a month. It used to move like a mile every 10 years. By the way, this is all in the Bible. They talk about all the animals dying off. They're resetting the planet, whoever they are. Climate change has always been a cover-up for the...
Such as a Washington Capitol building with consistent infrastructure that buries very deep into the ground. And again, the inconsistencies do not add up. Why would an underdeveloped people waste resources, energy, and time constructing the foundations of the Capitol building to be consistent with the column style we find above the surface? The foundations did not have to feature columns. Columns, we are told, are a stylistic choice, not a functional one. So why would they do this? In a nutshell, they wouldn't. We see images that suggest that the people of the 19th century were actually concerned with moving a lot of the vast amount of mud we see, leveling the ground and excavating existing structures.
We in 2023, right? Right. But are we really? I mean, we're taught history in school, but what if those dates aren't really the right dates? What if those people aren't even real people? Now, I'm not saying this man ain't real, but who's to say someone couldn't just draw a portrait of him and falsify some documents and be like, blam, this man existed. This could have been a character. And why would somebody go through all that trouble to lie about some dates? Maybe because they're trying to hide something. They're trying to create a narrative that they want everyone else to believe. Because look at the dates on some of these things right here. Up here we got 7412, 7292, 6493, 7415. According to this calendar, these dates have not even occurred yet. So in the past, were we really in the future? Why did we get off of this calendar? And here's some more. 7093, 7180, 7162. Seems like a lot of stuff is going on in year 7000. But I don't hear nothing in the history books about year 7000. What could have possibly happened in the year 7000 that history wants to hide? The point where we just started the fuck over. What if what we know as the 1800s really wasn't the 1800s? This is not just America, okay? This is a tombstone in Russia that has the old date of 7388 on it. So worldwide, they was in the year 7000. Mysteriously, everybody just stopped. Where did 5,000 years of our history disappear to? Human history is much, much, much older than what they're telling us. I mean, I don't know the validity of this photo, but that would explain why they were able to have such advanced technology back then in the 19th century. Like, what is this, a ghost machine? We're in the year 2023 and I still have not seen the Ghostbusters bust one ghost. Oh, you thought you were doing something with that scooter, huh, little Susie? Think again. I'm starting to think we really are behind. I don't think y'all really feel me on this. Okay, look at this. This is St. Louis, right? This is the best we can come up with in 2023. But look at this. This is St. Louis in the 19th century. This shit look beautiful. Unreal. It looks like it's on the set of a movie. Let's run it back. This is Chicago. Guess this is a major landmark in Chicago. The formed orb. This is Chicago in the 19th century. This don't even look like America. This don't even look like it belong in America. And this is Chicago? What happened? These dates are out of whack. The technology is out of whack. The architecture is out of whack. History, overall, is out of whack. What year you think we really in? Let me know in the comments.